Yeah, my Dell shine. 169.
Hey, so we wanted to spend some time and recap our Hammers 2026 race for everybody. What happened? How were we doing out there? And just tie it all back together to wrap things up. So we qualified 16th. We were off the line in row 8. So pretty early on, we had a great qualifying run. And we were super stoked about our starting position. We had a great first lap. We passed probably 10 cars that first lap, super dusty. I mean, it was just car after car after car, and we continued to just be in thick, blinding dust for literally the whole first lap. We came into pit, and we had a great first pit stop in Maine. We took a little bit of fuel and snack, and then we headed back out for lap 2.
Trinity. Yeah, we walking out. Look. Stay down. That's cause they couldn't rain clown. Midnight run up in the grave town. I got the front like James Brown. Stay down. That's cause they couldn't rain clown. Midnight run up in the grave town. I got the front like James Brown.
So lap 2 was a little bit different in that just before you get to remote pit, you have to cut off and go down Spooner's and outer limits. We actually missed that turn, being in dust and being behind another car that was still on lap 1. So we totally missed that turn, and we got into remote pit, and then we looked at each other and we said, weren't we supposed to go down Spooner's and outer limits? Where was the turn? And we totally missed it on the GPS, but luckily we were able to formulate a plan, go through the open desert, find the course, pick it back up, and continue on course to be able to go down Spooner's and outer limits. So put us back in the pack a little bit. We were probably around 5th or 6th at the time that happened, and we dropped back to at least 20th physical position. So we got back going down Spooner's and outer limits. We were having a great time, buzzing through cars, passed a few people.
Tennis on the way, put him in the, chillin' with the lane, can't do that, man, if it came. Get down, front so that it's in the mist in the set now. My chair with the last step, then I crept round. Once it's not hit with the phone, get down. Stay down, that's cause they couldn't rain clown. Midnight run up in the grave town. I got the front like James Brown. Stay down, that's cause they couldn't rain clown. Midnight run up in the grave town. I got the front like James Brown.
And then, boom, we're like, there's no brakes. Where's the brake pedal? And all of a sudden, boom, the brake pedal came back. And then all of a sudden, no brake pedal. And we quickly realized that there was something grinding in the wheel, and we stopped. So this was down partway up outer limits. We pulled over to the side. If you were watching the live stream, you probably saw us pull over, take the hood off. We had a caliper come loose, and it was binding up in the wheel. So we pulled that off, put a cap on, and we were able to continue on. No major issues other than no major issues other than no brakes in that left front wheel. But we had picked up a few positions and we were moving along great. We then started into the major rock trails, and at this point, we had pre-run all of this portion, so we were super confident in where we're going and cruising through the rock trails. We were picking people off, and we came to the parking lot that is Jackhammer. And it was just a cluster of cars trying to winch. We were lucky enough to squeeze through a few and take kind of a snake path through that area. We did have to winch to get through it, but we passed a bunch of cars in the process of getting through there. Followed Brian Tramp right through there. He showed us the line, and we were able to keep moving. From there, we just kept cooking. We had a great rest of the rock lap, hitting all the RCPs, checking things off, and we came back into remote pit. At this point, we were probably around fifth or sixth physical position from what we could tell. And from there, we're like, yeah, I mean, we've just got a couple rock trails to do, and then we're home free through the desert. This is a great spot to be. The sun was still up, and we were just ready to go, ready to get back to Hammertown. But everybody knows that you can't start thinking about that until you're at the finish line, because it was not far after that we dropped into aftershock, and on the second lap you have to come into a waterfall on aftershock, and that's where things went wrong. We got sideways in the waterfall, and we broke some things, got bound up, we were winching sideways, we ended up breaking a right front axle shaft. Unfortunate, because we were just so bound up, and once we got through there, once the axle shaft broke, oddly enough, we were able to finally winch out and get out of that hole that we were in. And then from there, we just decided we're still in a really good spot. At this point, let's just try to finish in 3-wheel drive. We knew we had one big rock trail left to go that had some pretty serious climbs on it, and we just planned to winch it. So we drove almost the whole next rock trail in 3-wheel drive flawlessly, and it wasn't until there's a super loose climb at the very end where we just couldn't get traction. And it's hard in 4-wheel drive, let alone 3. And so we just kept sinking and spinning, and we pulled the winch. There were not many points to winch to, but we just kept pulling the winch as far out as it would go, hooking it up, and then just dragging the car with the wheels spinning, churning up the dirt. And we just kept going and going. We had a few competitors help us out. Thanks Ken Foltz, thanks to a few others that came by and helped us out. We had to borrow a strap from Dan Wyrick to be able to reach to a rock. So there was just so many things that we just kept battling. It took us about 2 hours of winching to finally get up to where we wanted to get to the top of that rock trail, where we could start down Highway 1920. And after that, it was actually pretty smooth sailing down Highway 1920, and then we dropped it into 2-wheel drive in the desert, and we cruised the rest of the desert lap no problem. But I guess there was a sand hill a bunch of folks got stuck on that we didn't have issues with, but we blasted through that as fast as we could, and we were so glad to see Hammertown screaming and hooting in the car, the whole team there to cheer us on to finish. I think physically we ended up 19th overall, 12th in class. So a really good run. This is our 4th time in a row finishing Hammers as an official finisher in this car right here. So super proud. The car was amazing. The team was amazing. I can't thank everybody enough that came out to help us. It was honestly a dream come true of a Hammers. The weather was perfect, and we just had a great time. So yeah, thanks to everybody. Thanks to our sponsors, Kenda Tires, Yukon Gear, Sherpa Equipment, Raceline Wheels, Rough Stuff Specialties, Warren. We put the Warren through some serious abuse out there. Factor 55, all their recovery gear, keeping us pulling along, and all the other partners that keep us moving. So thank you so much, and look forward to seeing you this year, 2026, out on the race course.